What's up, everybody? Aaron Feely back with more White Sox Daily once again, as the Chicago White Sox yesterday fell 7-6 to the Los Angeles Dodgers, and then a bit of news as well from around the baseball world that could pertain to the Chicago White Sox, all coming up in today's episode. White Sox will be in action again later today as well. Look forward to that. But for now, some of the news and some of the stories from around the league. Jump right into it based on the game yesterday. Another great game if you were paying attention to it. If you were maybe trying to get some work done, needed something on in the background, a little bit of spring training baseball. It's just a vibe, isn't it? There's just a certain feel that baseball brings. It's just a little bit different from other sports. I would say, obviously one of the favorite sports to watch. For me personally, I've always been a huge football fan. It's my favorite one to get emotionally invested in on a weekly basis. But baseball just has this certain aura about it that just makes you kind of able to sit back and enjoy an afternoon, to just relax. Spring training comes on yesterday, and Sean Newcomb hopefully wasn't too relaxed as he went out there and had his first crack at the starting position, at the starting pitching position. We all heard all offseason Sean Newcomb was going to be given an opportunity to potentially compete for one of these starting roles in this rotation. Four of the spots likely locked in. The big question is who's going to come in and take that fifth spot. Newcomb was one of the guys that we had been told might compete from jumping from primarily a bullpen arm up there. And he had his first crack at it yesterday, and it was... gave up 4 hits, gave up 2 runs. He pitched 2 innings. Wasn't necessarily spectacular. A run an inning there, given up. It was a Dodgers lineup that had quite a few of their regular starters playing, and it is the Los Angeles Dodgers, so maybe a mulligan there. But, if he was hoping to leapfrog some of the guys that are normally primary starters or, put some stamp on his spot in this starting rotation to prevent the White Sox from maybe going out and seeking a free agent to bring in to round out this rotation. I'm not sure that necessarily happened with that first outing, with a chance to go out and get some starting pitches in against a game Dodgers team. Sean Newcomb, I won't even say disappointing, because I would say that most of us probably were expecting something of that general nature. It's just not really his strength. He's a really solid 7th or 8th inning type of guy, just not a guy that we really would like to be seeing too many starts from this coming season. So, is what it is. Came out, played meh, moving right on along. Another guy that you can pretty much summarize his White Sox career with the words meh. Had some real explosions from time to time for Chicago, but Eloy Jimenez, right there with, maybe Luis Robert, who I was not pleased about being traded, so I firmly in that camp, have been this entire time, but not unfair to say that his White Sox career can mostly be defined by, man, it should have been bigger, it should have been better. Injuries kind of derailed it to an extent. Also a little bit of just bad luck and bad timing as far as when some of the rougher seasons, some of the rougher stretches would come. Didn't really feel like he was living up to the next Mike Trout status that he was labeled with coming over from Cuba. Another guy in that same boat, Eloy Jimenez, showcased tremendous power. When he was on, he was on. I mean, there were points through his career here in Chicago where during certain stretches and certain months, he was the hottest hitter in baseball. And then he would sort of peter out for a while, and then he'd get hot again, then he'd peter out for a while, and then he'd get hurt, and then he'd get hurt again, and then he'd come back for a day, and then he'd get hurt again. And it was just this endless cycle with Eloy. Ended up getting rid of him back in 2023, signs with the Rays in 24. didn't really earn anything more than a minor league opportunity. Got hurt again, ends up going over to, trying to remember here where he ended up going. I believe with Toronto, where he never ended up playing any major league games with Toronto last season. 54 minor league games, got injured again, and the plague of Eloy Jimenez just continued to rear its ugly head, right up until the point where they brought him back this year, re-signed on a one-year deal. Again, likely considered to be a potential minor league type transaction. And then he just, in the first 3 spring games, has been crushing it. 5 for 8, 3 doubles and a home run to this point in spring training. He's only 29 years old still. It feels, like he's been in the league for forever, and he's already, we're kind of writing him off at this point in his career. But, to be fair, his age still starts with it too. He's still got that effortless power. He's still got a tremendous swing. If he can just stay healthy, it is possible that he might be able to help the Toronto Blue Jays this coming season. Now, it's going to be a difficult path to find playing time on a very stacked roster, but also he's been playing a lot more infield this spring training to try to make sure that he has as much versatility as he possibly can have. He's not ever going to be some tremendous defensive player, but on days where you're trying to find a way to get him some at-bats, if he's got that versatility, you can stick him somewhere. I got more spots where you're capable of just throwing him out there so that he can get you a couple of clutch at-bats at some point in the game, and you just deal with the defense. So Eloy Jimenez hopefully has a big bounce back here. Looking good thus far in spring for Toronto. We'll track how that goes for him. Also like to send a special shout out to our sponsor this week, Mars Men Testosterone Supplement. 8 all lab tested natural ingredients for Mars Men. Guys, if you're over 30, your testosterone is starting to slow down. A lot of men don't realize this, but it can start to decrease by up to 1% every single year after the age of 30. If you're trying to go out there, you're still trying to be active, lift weights, play sports. I'm huge into doing all that still. I still play in a semi-pro football league. I still like to play rec sports, floor hockey, slow pitch, whatever I can do, really. I still like to hit the gym, work out. And you start to notice after the age of 30 that sometimes your recovery time is just not what it used to be. And a big part of that is because your protein or your testosterone can sometimes just get locked up by some of your body's natural proteins as you age. What Mars Men does is it kind of helps unlock those testosterone molecules, helps unlock them from your body's own natural gatekeepers, and gets you back feeling like you did in your 20s. And as you can see there on the side of the screen, if you act now, for a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life. And also 3 free gifts. You just go to mengotomars.com. It's a perfect way for you to kick off the new year strong. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts at checkout. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you. Moving along once again as well through our news here. We have yet another pitching option making themselves known and felt throughout the rumor mill here for Chicago. As we talked about with Newcomb's rather disappointing first start in spring training, Zach Littell still out there, still a free agent, and still a guy that fits the Chicago White Sox needs right now to a T. A guy that is a known, productive inning eater, a left-handed pitcher, which the White Sox could still use, and the White Sox are looking for guys to supplement some of the innings that they already can pretty much tell they're going to lose to the fact that a lot of their starting pitchers right now are so young and they're not going to be able to go 7, 8, 9 innings on occasion the way that some of these older veterans with proven track records will be able to. Zach Littell, he's a guy that consistently puts long inning appearances together. He's a guy that can go out there and play and be healthy and continue to do what he does. And he's a guy that is back-to-back sub 400 ERA seasons. He's been in the threes several years in a row now, and he's still unsigned. He feels like a guy that could just fall right into the Chicago White Sox lap as spring continues to roll, and as he continues to be unsigned. It might decrease his price tag just a little bit. If that doesn't go through, Lucas Giolito and a reunion there, still available, still out there, but we'll have to see how that all plays out. And finally, last little bit of news to touch on here. We did see our first appearance of the spring from one of the top prospects that I've been super excited about ever since he was drafted by the White Sox, but George Wolkow, finally able to get out there, play some right field, and he got his first plate appearance for the White Sox in a Major League uniform. And he got a triple, 1 plate appearance, 1 hit, 3 base hit. Brilliant work from George there as we look to continue to see development from him, and hopefully he becomes a guy that ends up as a consistent right field option for the White Sox for years to come. If he could become a core member of this team in the near future, that would be spectacular. He's a guy with huge power upside. We all knew that when he came in. And yeah, if he can continue to develop and he continues to succeed, if he can put together at bats like he did today, or yesterday, against the Dodgers, be spectacular for the South Side. That'll do it for today's episode, though. I've been Aaron Feely, and we'll see you guys next week on White Sox Daily.